Ms. Ramirez, I don't have to go through this whole case anymore. I've just solved this whole case. You are suing for filing false charges against you. False charges of
actually the
abuse?
False charges and the custody hearing that we actually went through for the past 2 years.
Well, why do you think you would be entitled to legal fees from him for a custody hearing?
He sued me for custody of the children because of that incident.
Yes.
We went through about 2 years of a custody battle. It got to the point to where he decided he didn't want custody of the children anymore.
So?
He wanted me to agree not to move out of the city we were living in, and he wouldn't fight for custody. He wanted a social study done. We had the social study done. The lady came to the house. She did interviews on both of us. She did interviews on the children. In the social study that I have with me, she states that he seems lovable with the children. The children are lovable with him. She didn't see any problems with the family together. She felt that the children should stay living with me.
So?
We went to court. He had moved to Corpus because he was living in Corpus already working. He was away from us about 3 months. He put temporary orders on us not to leave the county. The judge spoke to the children to see whether they felt safe enough to move out of town with me to Corpus with him, or if they wanted to stay in Harlingen with their biological father. The children stated to the judge that they wanted to leave to Corpus with us.
Let me explain something to you. I don't know who this judge was who interviews a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old to make a determination as to where they want to live. I never did that with a 4-year-old. Where would you like to live, with your mommy or with your dad?
We also have him right here. He states that he has evidence that there was abuse.
There was abuse.
When?
Period. There was abuse. I'm finding right here that there was abuse. And you have no case to sue him for filing false allegations of abuse. Your husband abused your 3-year-old. You should have taken the belt and wrapped it around his neck. That's what you should have done. And I don't know what other issues the defendant has with you. However, any father who would not at that point fight for custody would be neglectful. So he had an absolute obligation to file for custody of his 2 children. And then the thing dragged along for 2 years because this judge had to wait until the kids were 4 and 6 in order to interview them.
No, it didn't drag on that long. It dragged on that long because he kept putting it off.
Maybe. But I don't care what the social worker said. I want to tell you something. I don't care what the social worker said. It is irrelevant to me. The mother's husband beat the children, but the children seem happy and safe with the mother. Father never beat the children, so we think that the children should stay. We think the children should stay with the mother. I mean, I don't understand a report like that. In any event, I'm not having to decide that case now. All I have to decide is whether or not he should be responsible for the cost of all of your legal fees as a result of fighting both his custody case and the case that he filed and the orders that he requested, preventing you from moving out of the jurisdiction, relocating.
I also have a letter here from the police department where they took the children to the police department, and the police even put in here where they were trying to bribe the children to tell the police that they were being slapped.
Listen to me very carefully. Your husband just admitted he beat your 3-year-old with a belt. What do I care about the police report? Your husband looked at me. I asked him a question. He answered my question. He beat your 3-year-old with a belt. He abused him.
I spanked him, not abused him.
Beat. Abused. 3-year-old, belt, abuse. That's it. Marks from a belt on a 3-year-old is abuse. That's not neglectful. That's not neglectful. Neglectful is if you don't give them a hot lunch. Neglectful is not when you beat a 3-year-old with an instrument. So you are not entitled to the return of any of your legal fees matter.
In the Penal Code, Section 961 states that the state declines prosecution in this case. The defendant is allowed to use forceful to reasonably discipline a child under Section 9.61 of the Penal Code, and there is insufficient evidence to show any other intent by the defendant. That's
I hope you feel better. If you appeared before me and you said to me, I lost my temper once, and I hit him with a belt.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Wait, that's not what you're saying.
No, you asked me.
No. I lost my temper once, and I hit him with a belt, and it will never happen again because that's not me. I know that's not the way you're supposed to discipline children. But what you just read to me, sir, was an indication that you believe that this is an appropriate way of disciplining children.
No, it's not, ma'am.
It better not be.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
Let me tell you something. You're not going to get the money from him.
Why? He signed me a promissory note stating...
I don't care if he signed you the Declaration of Independence. Courts do not help you when you try to scam the system.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Veronica Ramirez says the father of her children, Eloy Garza, falsely accused her of child abuse. Eloy says Veronica's husband, Juan, hit his son.
Ms. Ramirez, you have no case. The defendant did exactly what he should have done as a father by reporting what he saw. He did exactly what he should have done as a father by fighting for custody. He did exactly what he should have done by trying to prevent you from leaving the jurisdiction and relocating. And if he lost on all those counts, that's very unfortunate. But he had not only the right, but the obligation to do it. Your case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I don't think it went right.
Worked out good, I guess.
His false police reports, taking the children to the police department, filing false reports. I have all of that documented, all the false reports that he made.
Nothing else better to do, I guess.
I even have the reports where the police say that they were trying to bribe the children by telling them they would give them things if they said this.
As soon as I saw, bruises going on, I knew I had to get in and do something.
My children see him as their father.
They're little, 3 and 5,
So that shows what type of biological father their father really is.
He's never around.
No, I've been involved with their lives all the time.
I might have used excessive force, which I regret doing it.
Let the real parents do the discipline, not the step parents.
Be careful who you get involved with.
Go back to my country club and eat a po' boy sandwich.
19-year-old college student Eloisa Gibbs is suing schoolmates 25-year-old Brian Mbemba and 20-year-old Mitch Seiden for denting her car during a fight. Brian is countersuing, claiming Eloisa is trying to get him expelled.
Order. All rise. This is case number 108 on the calendar in the matter of Gibbs versus Mbemba Seiden. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have seats, please.
Who is Mr. Seiden?
Brian.
And what's your first name?
Brian.
And yours?
Mitch.
On your birth certificate?
Mitchell.
Mitchell, I'm not your friend.
Okay.
Mitchell. Now, Miss Gibbs, did you know Brian and Mitchell before this incident?
No, ma'am.
Stand up straight. According to your complaint, Miss Gibbs, you're sitting in your car, and these two idiots were having a fight.
Yes, ma'am.
And they ended up on the hood of your car, causing dents in the hood of your car. You want them to be responsible.
Yes. I was studying for a final.
Sitting in your car.
Yes, ma'am.
Brian and Mitchell say that A, there was no damage to your car, and B, if there was damage to your car, the other one did it.
Okay.
And then we have Brian, who is counterclaiming, because he says that because you are vindictive in pursuing this matter, he will probably be expelled from school and wants you to pay for his semester's tuition. That's your counterclaim. Is that
Yes,
right,
ma'am.
Brian?
Yes, ma'am.
Please don't laugh. Please don't laugh at Brian. All right, Miss Gibbs. What was the date of the incident?
May 13, 2002.
What time?
It happened, I'd say, around 1:40.
In the afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Where did this happen?
This happened in Nassau Community College by B1 in the south parking lot.
Did you see this fight before it ended up on the hood of your car?
I saw it from beginning to end.
Tell me what you saw.
I saw Brian walking towards the school, and he was passing a green Chevy Malibu. And in the green Chevy Malibu, there were two girls and Mitchell. As he was passing, I guess somebody said something. He stopped, turned around, walked back towards the car, got into a confrontation with one of the girls through the passenger window. That's when I saw Mitchell exit the car. Brian began to argue with Mitchell. They got into each other's faces. Brian hit Mitchell, and they began fighting. That's when I saw Brian.
Would you just a second? Would you go over and have a brief word with him?
Sure.
Thank you.
What I need for you to do is I need for you to respect this court. So
Yes,
if you
sir.
would stand up straight.
Yes, sir.
And try to restrict your laughter.
Yes,
okay?
sir.
My man.
We're sorry to disturb you. You have your train of thought?
Yes.
Brian hit Mitchell.
Brian hit Mitchell. They continued fighting. Next thing I know, Mitchell's body is on my car. Brian is on top of Mitchell. I see him hit Mitchell a couple of times. Then Brian completely flees the scene. At that point...
Took off?
Yes. When he took off, I got out of my car, confronted Mitchell, told him, look at the damage that you've done to my car. I want this taken care of. That's when I got the phone number of one of the girls that was in the car with him in the green Malibu. So I can get in touch with him to get the money for my car.
You have pictures of your car?
Yes, I do. I have the police report I have pictures of my car.
Let me see it all.
The whole time that this was happening, I was on the phone with my boyfriend from the United States Marine Academy.
Thank you. So it wasn't the hood of your car, it was really the side panel.
It was the side front panel of the driver's side, and there were some dents on the hood. And an object couldn't have done that, like me hitting something or something crashing into my car, because the paint is in perfect shape. There's no scratches or anything.
Okay. Now, Brian, I would like you to tell me, you're passing by this green car, and evidently you wanted to say something to one of the gals in the car. Tell me what you said to her.
Well, actually, what happened was somebody shouted something from the car. There was a laugh. There had been a lot of ridiculing by these people before. It was finals week, and I was going to walk away, but I was under so much pressure from my test. I said, you know, I'm tired of putting up with this. I went back to the car.
What did they say?
They were laughing. Somebody shouted a profanity I'd rather not say. And,
you could say it. I've heard everything.
Call me a...
Someone in the car?
Yeah.
Male or female voice?
It sounded like a female voice. Okay. So I approached the car, and right away they started denying it, and we mixed words. Mitch got out of the car, and we...
When you say you mixed words, what did you say?
You know what? I can't remember word for word. I maybe, you know, just yelled back and forth. Here's where the true story starts now. He got out of the car, Mitchell. We confronted Elias, my witness. He was involved, too, although she never even remembers him being there, so I don't know which fight she was watching.
Which actually I don't.
Elias comes up, he tries to break us up. At the time, there was really going to be no confrontation. What happened was, Mitchell, I don't know, like, went to push me away a little bit, and I made contact with him. At that time, he turned around, he went to his car, he grabbed what was an ice cleaner, you know, one of those brush stick ice cleaners, and he came at me to hit me. Elias tried to grab him to stop him. I tried to grab the stick. That's when we got into a scuffle, which lasted about 20 seconds, maybe 25 seconds. I never threw the first punch. I never ever put Mitch on top of the car. And after the thing, I did not flee the scene right away. We walked away, we calmed down. I left the school so there would be no further problems. I never even seen her there. I never saw a car get hit by anybody. I wasn't on a car. I surely didn't put him on a car. I didn't punch him first.
Now we'll hear from you.
Well, I was in the car, the girls, and we were laughing, just waiting for class to end, just hanging out in the car. And Brian had walked by. I don't know if they made a direct statement towards him, but he took it that way, came to the car, started telling the girls he's gonna strangle them, or like, you know, like just do it, you know, being a bully. And he asked me if I had a problem. I said, no, you know, I got no problem. So he told me to get out the car. I got out the car to try to tell him, relax, you know, we don't need to fight. You know, you're 25, I'm 20 years old, there's no need for this. And he headbutts me. So I fight back, and then as I'm fighting back, his friend comes and they say they broke it up, but where I come from, if you get into a fight one-on-one and the other person's friend grabs me, I think, you know, it's a two-on-one. Then I went back to the car, got a shovel, you know, a scraper to defend myself because he's a pretty big guy, little guy, got his friend with him, and with two girls. I struck him with it, you know, I had to do what I had to do. And then we had a little scuffle, this and that. I don't know if we dented the girl's car or if it was done like that already, but she had confronted me saying this happened, and if it did happen, then I'll take care of it, but if not, then I don't really think we did that damage.
Now I'd like to hear about your counterclaim.
Yeah. Up to this point, I have no previous record. I have no arrest record. My academic record is stellar. Made the dean's list the past 2 years. I'm too old to be getting involved in frivolous encounters. She tells the dean, and her story has so many holes in it, it's hard for me to even sit there and listen to it. And now because of this, my records are impounded, so I can't transfer schools. The least I'm going to get is academic probation, which ruins my scholarship chances, which I have plenty of. And at most, I'm getting expelled. So I'm going to lose a half semester of my life for this, for a false statement, because I know absolutely 100% I did not dent her car.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Yes,
you know one thing. You know when you were passing the green car and somebody called you a...
Yes, I know that
you should have kept walking.
I should have. But
right.
Your Honor.
That, you know.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
At the moment when these two were...
Look right here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know, Brian was just a little upset at...
Look at me.
And later today...
I said I will definitely honor our initial agreement. I don't in any way want to...
Stick you.
Right. She started to get really upset.
Well, just show me the rest of the payments that you made.
That's the only payment that I made.
Why?
That's
why?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. College student Eloisa Gibbs says her car was damaged during a fight between schoolmates Brian Mbemba and Mitch Seiden. Brian and Mitch are blaming each other.
So you're dealing with a couple of girls, 19, 20-year-old, big mouths.
Yes.
Right? Who call you a name. You're not a are you?
Constantly, absolutely not.
All right. So that you knew it wasn't true when they called you that bad name.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So you keep on walking.
I understand.
You keep on walking. That you know for sure. Then we go back to the police report. Police interviewed witnesses who stated that Mitch Seiden was the person who exited the vehicle to fight, and that they did, in fact, fall on the complainant's vehicle.
Okay.
Independent witness, not her. You had no vendetta against her. She doesn't even know who you are.
Absolutely.
Why
But
in the world?
I see this as an opportunity to make money off of something that was already there. Hey,
Oh,
look,
really?
fight, opportunity. Let's make these guys pay for my damage.
My boyfriend saw my car prior to me going to school and knows there was no damage
Miss
to my
Gibbs,
car.
If
Miss
my
Gibbs,
girlfriend,
Miss Gibbs, you need not answer him. Now, in all fairness to you, Brian, you have a witness here. I will hear the witness.
Thank you.
Who wants to stand up and be counted?
I'll stand up, Your Honor. At the moment when these two were,
Look right here.
I'm sorry. When these two were all fighting, there was no force against any car. Nobody fell on any car. There was no need for her to explain the car dent. There was these people right here didn't cause.
Brian was walking by himself past the green car. Where did you come from?
I came back with him.
Just a minute. Brian is walking past the
Brian
green
walked
car.
past the car, and then I see him turn around and walk back to the car. I tried to
Yes.
catch up to him to see what his problem was. When I went up to the car, and he was trying to ask the girls who were calling him a name or something, Mitch stepped out of the car and told Brian that it wasn't him. I don't know, Brian was just a little upset about the girls laughing at him or calling him a name. So
Look at me!
These two started to fight a little, but I didn't see them fall on any car nor cause a dent to any car at
Thank
all.
you very much for your participation.
You're welcome.
Brian, your counterclaim is dismissed. It's nonsense.
Okay,
And
thank
as
you.
far as the damage to the plaintiff's car, there isn't a question in my mind that the two of you caused the damage to the car. You should have kept on walking past the green car. And Mitch, you shouldn't have gotten out of the green car.
And I just try to calm him down.
You shouldn't have gotten out of the green car. Whatever the situation was, the two of you were responsible for her damage. So, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $870 to be shared by the two defendants, and the counterclaim is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
If I dented the car, I must have been blacked out during the time because I can't recall it at all.
I believe that Judge Judy made the right decision.
Whatever happened, happened. Whatever the way the case went, it went. Everything works out the way it does.
If you know you didn't do anything wrong, make sure you got it right.
Stay in your house, lock your doors, and don't go outside so you don't get sued.
Amber Oquendo is suing her former tenant, Nancy Villarreal, for unpaid rent.
Ms. Oquendo, you own a home.
Yes.
How large is the home?
It's 4-bedroom, 2-bath, and like approximately 1,700 square feet.
When did you purchase the home?
2018.
Can I ask you what the cost was?
$225,000.
And you live there in the house, just you, with whom?
I don't live in that house. That's my rental.
You bought it as a rental? Somebody was playing their music loud. It was a problem for you.
Yes.
You asked them to be quiet.
Yes,
you
Your
told her it was a problem.
Yes.
And then there was some sort of a kerfuffle. I don't know what happened. You want to tell me?
Owes for unpaid rent. Nancy is countersuing for her security deposit.
Now, you bought it as a rental? You bought it as a business?
Originally, I purchased it and I lived in one room. My kids shared a room and I rented 2 rooms until I was able to establish basically a history of being a landlord. And I then purchased another home and I live in my own residence, and that one is fully a rental as of now.
And also a resident of that home are your parents?
Yes, they are in the master.
And you have
by name, but he is in one room that I have marked as room number 2, and then I have another tenant who's in room number 3, and then Nancy was in room 4, and there's now a new tenant in that room.
Okay, this is what it's about. The defendant was a tenant of yours. It didn't work out, and it was a short tenancy. I think it lasted no more than a month.
Yeah, right.
Is that right? June of this year?
Yes, Your Honor.
It didn't work out. She left. It is your claim that she left owing you a month's rent, and I assume from your paperwork that the month's rent was $774.
So it was $650, and then the $774, the remaining difference was just for being served and then court costs. But month rent was $650.
$650. And when the defendant moved in the beginning of June, did she sign? May I see it, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You have a copy of your lease, Ms. Villarreal?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. So it's a month-to-month tenancy. It's an at-will with 30 days written notice. Okay. According to the lease, there was a security deposit of $650.
Yes, ma'am.
Did the defendant pay that when she moved in?
Yes, she did.
Okay, because that's your counterclaim. You say you want your security deposit back.
Yes, ma'am.
I assume from reading both of your complaint and answer that this turned out to be not a happy tenancy. You don't live $150 and you moved in on May 7th.
Yes, Your Honor.
Correct. And you moved out on what date?
I moved out on July the 10th.
So you were there for 2 months?
No, I was there for 1 month.
May to June, June, July. May 7th.
I moved in I believe it was June because I moved out July the 7th.
Our lease was signed on May 7th, so I know that.
Yes, the term of the lease is beginning May 7th. That's the term of the lease, according to this. So I don't care when you moved in.
Okay.
The term of the lease was May 7th on a month-to-month basis. So you were there from May 7th to July 10th. So you were there for 2 months.
Okay.
We're going to get into the whys, wherefores in a moment, but did you pay the month of May?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you pay the month of
Yes,
May?
ma'am.
Good. Did you pay the month of June?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And you lived there until July 7th. You gave as your move-out date. You said it was July 10th.
She said, I moved out on July the 10th.
Okay, July, and it was, yes. July
So you
10th.
were there for 2 months?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. If you were there for 2 months and you only paid 1 month's rent.
Yes.
So far, you owe her 1 month's rent. Did you return her security deposit?
Yes.
Did you receive your security deposit?
Yes, Your Honor.
How much?
$650.
Okay, so you have no counterclaim. The counterclaim is for your security deposit. The rest of it is nonsense. You moved out, you wanted to pay your moving costs, your hotel fees, and everything else. That's ridiculous. Oh, you're dying to tell me that there was noise there, that you couldn't live there, that it was terrible. Well, that's what happens when you live in a place with a whole bunch of other people. Did you look at this room before you moved in?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Okay, so you went to the house. When you went to see the house, Amber was there. She introduced herself as the landlord. That's what it says here.
Yes.
And she let you know that she wasn't in the house, that her parents were in the house as tenants, but she wasn't in the house.
Yes.
And you moved in and somebody was making noise. Somebody was playing their music loud. It was a problem for you.
Yes.
You asked them to be quiet.
Yes,
you
Your
told her it was a problem.
Yes.
And then there was some sort of a kerfuffle. I don't know what happened. You want to tell me?
Yes, Your Honor. I am a federal employee, Your Honor. And when I signed this lease back in May, it states there, and I'm also in recovery, Your Honor, and it states very clearly in the lease that there's in the house. And right after I brought that to her attention, I then received a 30-day termination notice.
Okay.
Because I absolutely could not live in that house anymore with my job. I felt it was not a safe place for me.
Where did you go? Just a second. Is that your son?
This is my son.
Okay. Does he live in the area? I know you called him and he came and helped you move.
Yes,
correct?
ma'am.
Who does he live with?
My son? He rents a room with roommates.
So he has roommates?
Yes.
Tell me where you this.
Right.
You chose to leave in 3 days.
Absolutely.
That was your choice.
Because
you had 30 days to stay and you had a month-to-month tenancy. Okay? You chose to leave. So where did you go?
I got a U-Haul. I didn't really have a place at the time to go, but my boy's grandmother offered her place to me. So I stayed there for a couple weeks. She said, you pay $180. I'll let you stay here for a couple weeks until I was able to find another place, Your Honor.
And then you did?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Great. Okay. So your security deposit you have, and she doesn't have her month's rent, which is $650. Are we done here? Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $650. We're finished. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
I am not aware of anyone using marijuana in my house.
There was marijuana being smoked in the house.
You know, some people don't realize, Sarah, that if you leave a premises that you have lived in, it's like going to a restaurant and ordering a steak and then delivering the steak, you're taking a bite and say, you know, I really don't like that steak, and finishing it and then telling the waiter you're not going to pay for the steak. I always say you ate the steak. If you're a tenant and you find the living conditions such that, you know, you find it untenable to live there, you have a prerogative of changing your residence, but you don't live there for 2 months and only pay for 1. And
Guys,
have a seat, please.
hello, Judge. Case 2095, Gonzalez versus Gilbert.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes, ma'am.
You're seeking substantial amount of money to refurbish your car after it was hit by the defendant's car while your car was parked.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendants are seeking the same amount of money because they say that despite the fact that one of them did in fact hit your parked car, it was your fault. That's your defense.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, who was driving?
I was driving.
Okay. Mr. Gilbert, on what date did this incident happen?
February 3rd,
What time?
about 5:30 in the morning.
Who was in the car with you?
Nobody. I was by myself. I was going to pick up my son
You were going to pick up your son from where?
from his mother's house to take him to school.
And where does he go to school that he has to be there at 5:30 in the morning?
He doesn't have to be there at 5:30. I have to leave at 5:30 to get him there by 7.
Do you take him to school every day?
No.
What was different about February 3rd?
His mother, stepfather, and the rest of their family was out of town. They had asked me to take him to school that day.
Just for that one day?
Yep.
Yep is not an answer.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
is an
Your
answer. Okay, so it's about 5:30 in the morning, and?
I left my house. It was
Look at me.
raining. It was cold. It's pretty much the same route I take every day. I guess either a reflection or what I thought were lights headed in my direction, so I swerved. And
Okay, you're still traveling, so you're moving. Does somebody have a diagram of where this happened? There it is. Okay. You were approaching a stop sign.
yeah, I was approaching an intersection.
So right on...
Were you there?
No, ma'am.
Sit down.
Yes, ma'am.
You were approaching an intersection.
Yeah.
It's a two-way road.
Yeah.
And it looks to me from that, is that an accurate representation?
Yeah, except for there was another vehicle on the other side of the road.
Okay, but it looks to me that you're traveling sort of in the middle of the road.
Yeah, it floods.
Okay, and a car is coming from something. You're not sure what.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what. It
We're
was
not sure what.
And I swerved. I
you
just got over to the proper side of the road.
And your car swerved, and when your car swerved, it hit that blue car that's sitting there. That's the plaintiff's car that was sitting in front of his house.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh, is not an
Yes, ma'am.
answer. Yes, okay. Now, do you want to tell me what you...
When I didn't see a vehicle, I took my vehicle home, I parked it, I got my insurance information, my driver's license, and I walked back to his house to trade insurance information with him.
Okay. You have a video of this incident?
Yes, ma'am.
From where?
From my surveillance cameras.
Is it set up for me to watch it
Yes,
here?
ma'am. Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm ready. That's your car, sir?
Yes.
Okay, let's see that again.
Notice how the truck is covered?
Okay, so you hit the plaintiff's car hard enough to push it up on the curb.
Speed limit is 30 miles an hour.
I've just asked you a question.
Yes, ma'am.
It looks as if you hit it hard enough to push it up on the curb.
Yes, I did.
But you told me a moment ago, Mr. Gilbert, and you just piped in that the speed limit there is 30 miles an hour. You said you were slowing down for a stop sign.
I said I was approaching a stop sign.
Well, when you're approaching a stop sign, you don't approach a stop sign at 30 miles an hour, especially if it's in a neighborhood that you've been in. But according to you, you drive that neighborhood regularly.
Yep.
However, not at that time. That's what you said.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you are approaching a stop sign, when I approach a stop sign, and if I know there's a stop sign there, I start applying my brakes a little bit before. Now, I do drive with some people who sort of like to play chicky to it and put their brakes on. But that's not what you told me you did.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So now I'm going to say, if you were going very slowly, sir, approaching a stop sign, you wouldn't have hit his car with such force that you push him up on the curb. Okay. Your defense is to this action, as I said, that he was parked and he had this car that was covered and it was parked facing the wrong direction, which is totally irrelevant as to was facing the wrong
according to
direction.
Texas state
It
law.
was on. It's covered over, so you don't know which direction it was facing in. Certainly, the light wasn't on it. If you're
I've passed this.
I didn't ask you for anything. You weren't there.
Yes, ma'am.
You weren't there.
Yes, ma'am, but
She lives in the neighborhood. She drives by it every day.
For
Just a
7
second.
years.
What do I need that for? I have a video.
Okay.
I have a
Can
video.
you see the stop sign in the video? No. You have no idea how close I was.
You just told me you were approaching a stop sign.
Yeah,
Would
there
you
is
read
a
that
stop
back to
sign.
me?
There is
Would
a
you?
stop sign.
Would you read that back to me? I was approaching a stop sign. Leave.
I did not say I was slowing down.
Now you can leave.
I did not say I was slowing down. I said I was approaching a stop sign.
Okay, that's what I thought. But that's why we have Whitney.
Let's see, he says he was approaching a stop sign at an intersection by the plaintiff's house, and I can see either a reflection or what I see lights headed in my direction, so I swerve.
Now I would like to see that video again one more time. I would like to see if I see something coming towards you. Actually, I don't see another vehicle coming towards you. Is that a truck parked there?
It's a food truck behind it. It's like catty corner to his vehicle. There's a food trailer there that had all of the light, like right.
A food truck on the other side of the street.
Yes, ma'am.
A food truck that you could see, but that's parked.
Well, I assume since there was no actual lights coming, I assume maybe that's what light reflected off of.
You don't assume anything. All you know is you saw something that made you swerve.
Yes, ma'am.
Whether it was there or not there. So am I getting the fact that your total defense is based on the fact that his car shouldn't have been parked there?
Yes, ma'am. Or covered.
Yeah, well, but that's a finable offense, Mr. Gilbert. That's a finable offense.
If it doesn't cause an accident.
No, I don't think it caused the accident. You caused the accident.
How did
you
I cause
caused the accident. This is an inert object.
According to my HOA guidelines, that vehicle is supposed to be in his garage.
Offense if his car is parked.
So
you're trying to interrupt me.
Okay.
That it's a finable offense. The question is his car being parked illegally the proximate cause of this accident? That's the question. Would that be a fair?
It is.
I didn't ask you a question unless you went to law school.
Huh? No,
unless you went to law school. Am I in the realm? You're closer than that, was Palsgraf versus Long Island Railroad. His car may have been parked in the wrong spot. Yeah. If you had somebody that left a baby carriage with a baby on the street, which is certainly against the law and would be a neglectful act on the part of the parent, and if you happen to swerve up to avoid something and hit that baby carriage, you can't say that baby carriage is the cause of the accident.
No,
you're the cause of the accident.
No, the owner of the baby carriage is.
No, you are.
No, they are.
So
how am I responsible for their baby carriage? That's what they're there for.
Reflectors on what?
Reflectors on the truck that's covered. They have headlights, turn signals, everything that's reflective that you could see. There was no reflectors or signals for me to see to know it was there.
You would have hit it whether it was covered or not.
Horse.
Very good. May I please see the...
That's horse. I wouldn't have hit it could I seen it.
Kevin, I want to see what he's got as far as work for the car. Okay, so this is clearly a project car, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's it don't run.
Get him out of here.
Let's go.
He's done.
I swear.
He's done.
Okay.
Thank you, Lord.
Oh, that makes my life so much easier.
And later today.
You wanted to go. There was no reason why you couldn't. That's why you drive a motorcycle, because you can get into tight places and you can go. But you look like an intelligent young woman.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Don't take chances. That was a chance. It could have been a lot worse.
Bobby Gonzalez claims his neighbor, John Gilbert, hit his classic pickup truck. John is countersuing for car damage and harassment.
By the way, both the defendant and for harassment, well, since neither one of them can keep control of themselves, the counterclaim is dismissed. I'm looking at this truck, Mr. Gonzalez. When did you purchase it, sir, and from whom?
In October of last year. I purchased it online.
Do you have the bill of sale from when you purchased it?
I don't have the bill of sale, but on the paperwork, I have the post on Facebook on how much I paid for it. It was for $8,000.
Okay.
I also have an appraisal on there as well.
I see the appraisal, but I don't have what it's going to take to fix the spot where he damaged the car. He damaged the car in this whole side end.
Yes.
I mean, he's not going to give you a classic car.
Well, I know.
That's not going to happen.
I know. I know.
Okay. That's not going to happen. And certainly, you do understand that I'm not awarding you anything close, even though they're two obnoxious people, anything close to $10,000. You do understand that, Mr. Gonzalez. You're going to have to get this car fixed right now. I'm looking. Where is a invoice for either the work you had done or an estimate to fix that part of the car that Well, then what you're asking me is to guess, sir.
Well, I can give you the rates as far as how much I'm
You
gonna have.
can't give me anything.
Okay.
You have to take the car in to somebody who deals with classic cars. This is a 70-year-old truck, and it's certainly beat up. You had it covered for a long time. It shouldn't have been on the street. You do know that. And I assume that since it's not driven, you didn't have it insured.
Well, I took it out for Halloween, just for the kids.
Well, I mean, where do you suggest that I conjure up a figure of $10,000 when you have a car that's a year old that has never been driven, that you take out and it's a Halloween ornament? So let me explain this to you. I have to guess at a figure. I would be prepared to award you $2,000 to fix your car because I did see that it had to be damaged as a result of the damage to the defendant's car. If you feel as if you would fare better in your local small claims court where this case came from, because I have dismissed their counterclaim, I will dismiss your case without prejudice and you can take it back to the lower court. Take your choice.
I'll go ahead and take it from you. I know I'm not going to get anything from them.
Very good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000. Counterclaims dismissed. Fix your car. Thank you.